Welcome to the third session of the Accessible Control Environment, or our ACE pilot program. This is the final one that the club approved. Voice of Independence Toastmasters thought of giving it another shot at having an online meeting. Lee suggested focus it on online mentoring. That's what it's been the last few. My name is Francisco, as you see on the screen. I have been the host for the last 3 meetings. We have had some great experiences. And right now we're conducting a bit of a sound check as we start the meeting. I'll hand it over to John, who's also been working with me. And I guess John can hand it over to Dwayne. And then we're going to wrap up with Lee on this intro. He's also going to be our table topics master. John, take it away.
Well, hello, my name is John. I've been with Voice of Independence Toastmasters from the start, and look forward to participating in this final episode of ACE. And Dwayne, how about you?
My name is Dwayne Frolicker. Been involved with The Voice now for going on 5 months. And it's interesting, in high school, they used to call me Ace. And the reason was that I ran cross country, and it was pick up the pace, Ace.
Oh, okay. I guess that's your cue, Lee.
Good afternoon. I'm Lee. I've been with Voice of Independence now for going on 4 years. I'm also a DTM, which for those who don't understand, that's Distinguished Toastmaster, or Don't Time Me for those of us in the club. I'll be running our table topics here today. I have a couple of questions that I pulled out from having a little bit of fun. And I think that in the spirit of goodness, I'm going to ask, John, you're an educated fellow. Congratulations on your recent graduation with your bachelor degree in performing arts. Please tell us about your curriculum and favorite class at Ringling Brothers and Barnum Bailey Clown College.
Good morning, boys and girls. One of my favorite classes in the whole set of courses was the squirt bottle and all the different things that can be done with a squirt bottle. This was an exercise in lots of creativity. Just think about it. We discovered all the different things that you can put in a squirt bottle. And it is not just water. One of the fun things, people expect if you're going to squeeze a squirt bottle, a stream of water will come out and just affect whatever is in front. So people expect that they're going to get hit with water and it's going to ruin their clothes. And well, of course, as a talented, humorous performer, I have learned how to fill my squirt bottle with just a long string. And when you squeeze the bottle just the right way, the string will come out and it starts to look like the stream of water. And as my victim expects to be hit with a stream of water and have their clothes affected, they start to react, they're tense, they're in a crisis, they feel. And as the realization comes that, hey, it's just a piece of string that's getting ready to come in contact with them, and it's going to fall down and it's not a problem. Just that quick turn from one emotion to another is where humor is. That funny twist and turn. So I know you wouldn't particularly think that the squirt bottle class would be particularly memorable, but I highly recommend it. You can sign up and we'll get squirting.
Thank you, John. Very much appreciated.
Great.
I always thought the dress for success, stripes, and polka dots do not necessarily clash was my favorite. See, you got Dwayne. Which, incidentally, Dwayne, Las Vegas has been building a new casino based on your proposal. Please tell us about your new theme casino and what the major attraction is to the general public. Dwayne?
The new theme casino in Las Vegas. I'm getting the timer by Francisco there. That's an interesting question. What would attract people to Vegas that's already not in Vegas? You know, that is a very interesting question. And what would that be? There is so much extreme things going out on Las Vegas. What would be more extreme? What would that be? Well, in the theme of Clown College, and now that Ringling Brothers has discontinued their national show, that they no longer travel across the country, I would think that that might be a good draw for Las Vegas, kind of like they do in Branson, Missouri, or in Pigeon Forge, to have a Branson kind of theme at Las Vegas to make it a Ringling Brothers Las Vegas casino. Keep going. Okay. Well, then you could get, we could get John involved there with his cat, and we could get him involved with the squirt bottle that we've got involved. And it's interesting, you could put the Clown College at the casino, that then you could teach people how to juggle with chainsaws, how to, just recently I saw a gentleman, he is very proficient in balancing chairs on his nose. So with that, we could teach that as kind of a tourist attraction to learn people how to juggle, how to balance chairs on their nose, and how to be a clown. So that would be my proposal for a new casino in Las Vegas. Lee, I lost your voice.
Check?
Yes, there we go.
Okay. Thank you, Dwayne. We'll move on to our resident happy extrovert, Francisco. If you could go back in time and talk to yourself at age 10, what advice would you give yourself?
Age 10. As the song says, I wouldn't change much, but maybe I wouldn't wait 13 years to join Toastmasters. Why? We have humorous speech contests. We have table topics contests. And this is the most wholesome fun I've had since I was 10 or maybe 11. I know things weren't that wholesome when I turned a teenager. So yes, wholesome fun. I will sit myself down, have a nice conversation over some real nice float on a day like today, outside on the deck, and I will tell little Francisco, young man, there's this organization. It's now online. It's got outreach. You're close to a wonderful district. Take advantage of it. Of course, that's when Francisquito is living in Cincinnati. But, again, I wouldn't change much. All I know is that I would have started doing Toastmasters early. This is way too much fun.
Thank you, Francisco. That's our first round. Do we want to go through another round? And would anyone else like to take a few questions? Or would you like me to keep going?
I think, thank you, Robert. My thinking right now, I don't want us to jump out just in case. What I would rather do, how about let's go back to gallery view, and since we are trying to use this one piece as a promo, how about a quick round of feedback? Let's say we're evaluating the program. Can you jump in on table topics mode? I'm going to make sure that we're timed. Pause and reset. And give me your impression, because only Dwayne is the newbie, but John and Lee, thank you. You've been here all this time. I'm going to start with them, Dwayne, so you can hear, and then give us also your impression with this first session today. John, what has been your impression so far?
I think we're certainly improving. We're becoming more aware of the elements of our environment when it comes to working on a video conference. I think, Francisco, you've done well to pick a really sort of neutral background. Lee, you've also worked some background management there, and I need to do that. And so I've got a vision to implement so that my background is more neutral. And so that's just a funny thing about TV, that things that you wouldn't notice in real life because your brain tunes them all out, on a screen, the reality is flattened. and so some principles of theater wind up coming into play. And little by little, we're becoming more aware. I think we all enjoy the fact that our travel time to get here was nothing, and our travel time afterwards is also nothing. But there are some things in exchange that we want to be mindful of to be better communicators, and we're coming along on that path. Thank you.
Lee?
When we started this, we had a few more individuals that were coming online, a few lurkers, if you will. And I think that one of the things that we could do a little better is invite, maybe not necessarily our club, bring in somebody from District 11, say Janet Falkenberg, or bring in somebody from District 10, as Dave Wiley or Deanna Moore or someone along those lines. Maybe bring in a few other folks where the video conferencing is probably have a little bit more impact, such as District 27. Now, there is a club out of London, England, that does a video club. They have members from Australia, England, Germany, and a couple of other places. And we might be able to invite them as well. Now, for the intent of this itself, we could, at some point in time, using Zoom, put this in a regular meeting, have it as a, say, a set back and spy on with a fisheye camera. This is a typical Toastmasters meeting. This is what you will see. Maybe that will help demystify some of this for some of our potential members. The other thing that we have to take into account is that we are in video. You see how much of us is framed. That limits gestures. It limits facial expressions if your camera's set back as far as mine, not as far back as John. It will mostly work on your voice. Now, if Justin would bring in his friend, that smooth, golden-voiced friend of his, remember him from the last meeting? I think he could do exceedingly well on something like this. Show us what voiceover work would look like and how we could put it together for the club. Maybe he could even do voiceovers for you, Francisco, whereas, welcome to Toastmasters. This is your atypical club, and we are going to show you what it's like if you were a member today. And walk along in that, as in Leonard Nimoy or Patrick Stewart would do on the History Channel promos. That's just a couple of my thoughts on where we could go with this and how much we could actually move forward as, we are doing. Thank you.
Excellent. Great. So, Dwayne, bring it home.
I think this is a great great technology. My experience primarily has been with WebEx. And primarily with WebEx, it's death by PowerPoint. So you have pretty much, one party dumping information onto you, and you really don't get to participate in the presentation. So usually they'll start 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, then run for a good solid 30, 45 minutes. Then after the presentation, then you get to type in your response or any questions. And sometimes after that presentation, you might get a response or you might not. But I think this is a great use of technology from the fact that you're actually using your voice. You can actually you are limited to what gestures that you can use, but I think we need to use technology to our advantage. And this is definitely a piece of technology that we can use to get our word out, get our message out. And I definitely feel like this has been a great exercise for me today to increase my communication skills. So I look forward to the next Zoom Toastmaster.
Thank you, sir. We have about 10 minutes, and based on that, and let me stop this. I think everybody was fine. Well, actually, let me start it so I know.
I would get the cat, but she tends to be rather predictable in her message.
The
rather
final,
one-sided, too.
Since I will stop being the host, my one suggestion, and Dwayne, you may want to check in with your mentor. We went at length into this. This is a recent Toastmaster magazine from last year. He has this article on leadership lessons from the real world. I must admit, much like the pen, that HPL project sat there for a while. But just hearing you, Dwayne, I'm encouraged to set forth a motion as we start the next year, figure out how we can do better. I personally feel we've leaped forward in the last 3 meetings. And for example, when you read about the article itself, leadership lessons from the real world, when you read about accepting hiccups, reaching out, I think we talked about that, and seeking feedback, applying a global concept locally and vice versa. I highly recommend we read this. Levels of mentoring. And finally, because I know there are 2 guys in here, I'm going to borrow from this. Dwayne, there is something that you may have heard about that's happening right now, which is going to make what we're doing, as Kevin once said, revolutionary, for a very simple reason. Yes, we're used to using the tool in a certain way, but as you yourself pointed out, we're learning to use it in a different way. In my opinion, we're bringing the principles in, be it lighting, be it voice quality. All these things are in the program, and now the time is ripe for us to make them accessible and useful. Me personally, this has a lot to do with what I do. As you remember, I tried to walk you through the process. It was really straightforward, but it's usually better when you have somebody giving you a hand, call it moral support, tech support. It was easy, it was comfortable, we got in. John is looking, he went for a screen share of the magazine, great. They're there, they're available, they're archived. Thank you, open it up. It's on page 19. If you could. Perfect. And we have a couple of minutes, and I just want to wrap with this, I would say, challenge to those that are here and those that may see us on YouTube. How can we make this a permanent feature of our club? How can we put ourselves, I would say, in a position of strength, if you will? Once Pathways comes in, it's not going to be all new. We will find that this project, if you will, and yes, I was asked to share the thought of who wants to do the next HPL. That's what this article says. I just did. Actually, I'm wrapping mine HPL up with this. I have to give a results. This is my draft results of speech. But the bottom line is that today, I just want to say thank you very much. Thank you for all the feedback. Thank you for all the ideas. Thank you, of course, for being here. We have a goal. It's there. It's written. How can we bring Voice of Independence, which is a really cool club? I don't want to say 21st century because it's 2017, but how can we make the club grow through efforts like this? Thank you. John, you want to go ahead and stop the screen share so we can say goodbye? Thank you. That was on page 19th of the September 2016 magazine. Thank you. Thank you, John, for showing it where it's online. And you're muted, so if we say goodbye, we won't hear you. We're wrapping up the recording.
Count your blessings.
Thank you. Thank you, Dwayne. Thank you, Lee. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Bye. See you on YouTube in a little bit. Bye.
Yeah, I'll put a link here to that article in case.
Perfect.
All right, so both links are there. Grab them before we leave. And,
oh, okay. I'll save all that. Thank you, sir.
All right, enjoy.
Bye.
Thank you.